What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Sean Sheehan Q&A here on SevereMMA.com. Normally this Q&A is on our Patreon, but for this week we have the big Bellator card, so we decided we put it up on YouTube. So basically send in your questions all week. I get them over on Patreon, over on Twitter and everywhere else like that, Facebook. And I come on here and I answer them. It's on Patreon every Tuesday morning, patreon.com/SevereMMA podcast. If you're not signed up, but if you're already signed up, thank you very much. And thank you for listening. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get straight into these questions and I'm going to answer them. I'm going to pull them up in this video here and you'll be able to look at the questions and I'll answer them straight away. So let's see, it should be fun. Let's see how it works out here. Right, so I'm going to come over here to Patreon and look at some of the questions. So the first one here is from Evan Keaveney, and he says, what's your favourite fight on the card? And obviously I asked about the Bellator card. So let's have a quick look at the card here. Thank you very much to Tapology for this, obviously. So the main event, we have James Gallagher versus Roman Salazar, Michael Page versus Richard Kiley. We have Ryan Scott, Peter Queally, Liam McCourt, Kerry Hughes, and Miles Jury, Benson Henderson. Sorry, I suppose are the main couple of fights here we have straight away. And I suppose for me, the fight that I'd be maybe looking forward to the most would be Michael Venom Page versus Richard Kiley. Anyone who listens to the podcast and maybe has listened to this Q&A before or some of the YouTube videos knows I'm a big kind of fan of that style, you know, the karate style, the wild, high kicking, high output, you know, high movement sort of striking. I've always been a big fan of that. And Michael Venom Page brings that an awful lot. I wanted a fighter like Michael Venom Page to fight in Ireland for so long. It's going to be great to see him live, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. But Richard Kiley is a guy, maybe underrated is the wrong word, but he probably is underrated. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win or he's going to beat Michael Venom Page or anything like that. And, you know, if he could, you know, if he did, it'd be an unbelievable shock and it'd be one of the greatest victories in Irish MMA history. But I'm interested to see if maybe Kiley can prove some of the doubters wrong. Maybe he can prove, you know, a lot of people called him a cannon, stuff like that when this fight was made. And, you know, to me, it's an interesting fight. And, you know, even if it comes out and Michael Venom Page wins, you know, in 2 or 3 minutes or whatever, I think it'll be a fun fight. I think it's going to be a lot of shots thrown early. I think there's going to be a big knockout here somewhere, and I think it's going to be a really fun fight. So, you know, let's see how it goes. But for me, you know, that's the fight I'm kind of most looking forward to so far, coming into this card. So, next one here we're going to look at is Sean Denny. Where does Bindor rank with international stars to fight in Dublin? I suppose. You know, it's funny because I was just thinking about the Paddy Hoolan Lewis Smoka fight there that happened a few years back, and that fight card was one that was, you know, supposed to have Dustin Poirier versus Joseph Duffy, and, you know, Dustin Poirier probably one that'd be up there, you know, as one of the top fighters to ever fight in Ireland. You know, we had it was Rich Franklin, wasn't it? Mark Coleman back in the day were obviously top fighters to fight in Ireland. But it has, you know, Benson Henderson, UFC lightweight champion, Miles Jury, you know, one of the top fighters we've seen around for a long time. You know, maybe, you know, not a top 5, top 10, maybe borderline top 10, top 15 fighter for a good while. But Benson Henderson has to be up there. You know, former UFC lightweight champion, as I said, beat Frankie Edgar twice. You know, fighting Anthony Pettis in, you know, big, you know, main event fights as well, fighting on Fox as well. So yeah, to be honest, he's definitely up there. He has to be up there with one of the best that we've ever seen. So next question here you're going to look at is Dalton Stickney. What do you think about Bellator and Risen's shift to tournaments? Tournaments, to me, they're good. I like the I like tournaments when you have good fighters. Like looking ahead to this, and I know it started a couple of weeks ago, the 145-pound tournament, and there's lots of good fighters fighting on it this week in Bellator. This weekend in Bellator. That's great. I love that sort of tournament. If it's just a tournament for the sake of tournaments where you're not going to get loads of fun fights, not the biggest fan in the world. Like, I love fun fights. And if a tournament can offer me fun fights, beautiful. Bring me on the tournament. But if it doesn't have all the fun fights, you know, and if it's lads that we don't really want to see fighting each other, I don't think it's the best thing in the world. But, you know, when the fighters are there, I'm a big fan of tournaments, sure, 100%. Right, next question here from Dalton Stickney again. If Bellator bought Risen, would that be a good move, or is it more exciting, the cross promotion? Yeah, I don't know what the crack with Ryzen actually is like, are they available to be bought? Do they have enough money? Are they grand to keep going and stuff? I think the cross promotion stuff is good, like Haraguchi, 2 division did he lose the championship, or was it gone up a fight? But he was anyway, a two promotion champion. So I'm sure Bellator and Ryzen are happy with that, so they can promote him that way. But yeah, no, I think cross promotion is good. I think the way they're doing it now is pretty good. So yeah, I like it like that. Next question here. With such a big card, what's the story with Buliad versus my Doraba? So I didn't really know about this. I went over to my boy Pizza Carl, and he was telling me about it. So Buliad apparently is like a really good kickboxer. He's been around for a long time, and he's transitioning over to MMA. So that's really that's the story of that. I don't know. I can't tell you too much more about it, to be honest. How important is this fight for Franz? Is it a do or die? So if we look at the fight here, Franz Malambo, he's fighting Dominic Wooding, as we see there, and Dominic Wooding obviously 6-2, Franz Malambo 7-4. It's a big fight for Franz Malambo. We've seen him have his troubles, as I said, 7-4. Dominic Wooding is a really, really good fighter. Franz had a good win in his last fight. Dominic Wooding, there are 2 great fighters on this scene, and one of them is going to maybe rise and get to the next level over the next while. But Franz has it in him. I think Dominic Wooding has it in him as well. I think they're 2 really good fighters. And even if a setback here for either of my team, I still think they can come back and do well again. But for Franz, if you're looking at it from an Irish MMA point of view, we need fighters like Franz rising through the ranks. Some of these fighters, I talked about on the podcast this week about James Gallagher, and he's rising up now. He's 9-1, and he's a guy that's that's rising, and over the next year or two, maybe not year or two, over the next year, he needs to take that rise and get to the towards a title shot. Maybe win another 2 or 3 fights, and then start rising, fighting the top guys in Bellator. And I think Franz Malambo could be in a position to do that over the next while, and I suppose we'll see how it goes for him. But yeah, it's a big fight for him, 100% on that. Right, next question here. What happens? Did I skip one? Oh yeah. What happens if Kylie wins? Does the world end? What happens if Kylie wins? If he beats Michael Venom Page, a lot of talk will be about Kylie getting big fights in. Make no doubt about that, because he speaks well. He has a good style. People seem to like him. He talks a lot of shit, which today, it goes a long way. So if Kylie can beat MVP, Kylie has said, to me in interviews and loads of places, that he takes these fights because he knows if he wins these big fights, like the Bama fight when he took at that time, it's going to elevate him to the next level. He's getting on. He's not the youngest guy in the world. He's not going to be around forever, and he wants these big fights to elevate him to the next level. And that's a risk taking an MVP fight like that. But if he wins that MVP fight, that's exactly what it's going to do for him. It's going to take him to that next level. So, would it be what would happen? The world might end. Yeah, it'd be absolutely huge. You're talking an unmerciful amount of shit. But yeah, look, I'd be here for it anyway. I think it'd be a good crack, but let's see what happens. Right, next one here. Is there a limit for being too drunk on this card? Yeah, no, I don't think so. Just keep drinking all night. From Ross Hannon there, fair play. Christopher Graham, should Bellator have European champions for the European series? I asked actually David Green about this the last time Bellator were here, I think, and I think he said no, not for a moment anyway. Would there be gimmick titles if they did have them? Maybe. You're already in this thing where you're calling Bellator champions, and for some of the belts, there's a little bit of an argument you could make now, because some very, very good fighters are in Bellator. I know there's always been good fighters, but some world-class fighters that you can argue as good as UFC, fighters, especially when, Rory McDonald was their champion at welterweight, and Tyron Woodley was the UFC champion. Rory McDonald had beat him, pretty comprehensively. So, there is an argument to be made, but European belts, you're just, like, do you want to lower people, to that, and lower people is the wrong thing, I suppose, but, like, do you want... Like, everyone in the promotion should want to be the world champion and should be rising towards there. Like, if you get someone they're the European champion, like, what are they going to do then? Are they going to defend that belt like 2 or 3 times? Or are they going to say, I don't want this anymore? And then you've just making a new champion. No, maybe that'll work. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I don't think they'll want to do that, to be honest. No. Next one here. Would you like to see KSW champion Phil DeVries challenge Bader for his heavyweight title, vice versa? No, I wouldn't. That last Phil DeVries fight was just so boring that, he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, but wait till his next fight. Maybe ask me that again after that. I want to see it a bit more, but after that last fight, yeah, it's tough to want to see him fight anyone anytime soon. But yeah, right. Next question. Long one here from Ian O'Neill. Fair play to you, Ian. We have. Did I miss one there? No. We have complained about how little cards there has been in Ireland, but after the situation with Cal Elner's scan, I think it proves the point that health and safety for fighters must come first. Had this not been spotted, it could have been another tragedy. I wish him all the best in the future. Puts things into perspective. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there, Ian. 100%. It's a blessing in disguise this fight happened in Ireland, and you had this health and safety, and you had these scans that this was found, and Cal Elner was able to, I don't know if it can be fixed, or I'm not a doctor or anything, I'm not a brain surgeon, and if there's something can be done, or for him to get back fighting, and if there is, I hope there is, but if there isn't, and this is the end of it, it's a better way to end it than him getting badly injured and brain damaged, and maybe he could have died or anything, you'd never know. I don't know how serious it was now, but from the way he talked, it sounded pretty serious. So it's great that they have this health and safety when you're fighting in MMA, and when you're putting on MMA cards, and when you have MMA in your country, you have to take it damn seriously, because this, MMA is a great sport, but it's only a great sport once we keep it in the bounds of the rules, and once we keep, health and safety tantamount to that sport. So yeah, look, it's great that it was found, and that we were able to, to call off that fight. Unfortunately, I wanted to see the fight. Lots of people wanted to see the fight, but health comes first. It always has to. Right, next one here. From Christopher Graham. Should Yair, he's a few different ones here, right? Should Yair and Stevens run it back? Yeah, I think they probably should. At this stage, I think it ended in 15 seconds. Everyone's looking forward to that fight. That fight made a lot of sense. Get it up and going here in another few weeks. Run it back, and let's see how it goes. Next one there from Christopher. How did you score the Grasso Esparza fight and the Moreno Askarov draw? Watch back a bit of the Moreno Askarov one. It's a tough fight to score. I think Askarov got on top an awful lot. So I wouldn't complain too much about that one. For the Grasso Esparza fight, I think it was a draw. I think I haven't gone back and watched it very closely. I think Esparza was landing the harder shots in the first two rounds. I think once it came to the third round, I think that was a 10-8. I think she almost knocked her out, and she almost submitted her as well. Did Grasso, so I think she should have won that 10-8, so it would have made it a draw. But 29-28, not the worst score in the world, but I think the perfect score, and I'm no judge or anything now, but I think a draw has a perfect score there. Right, next question here. Could Ryan Bader become the first multi-divisional, multi-promotion champion in MMA history? What does that mean? So that means he's going to go to Risen, is it? And win there? Yeah, he could. He definitely could. Yeah, I suppose he could. So yeah, there's not much more I can say about that one really. Early predictions for the Rugby World Cup. How far will Ireland go this time? I don't really know that much about rugby. I'm not going to lie to you. I got help from my friends to do the MMA fans guide to the Rugby World Cup, so I hope it wasn't too bad. It seemed to have gone down pretty well anyway. New Zealand will win, I think. How far Ireland go? Ireland will probably get to the quarterfinals, lose in a game they should have won, and they'll come back and everyone say, "Oh, we did great for the small country," which I fucking hate, but that's probably what's going to happen anyway. Would you like to see an MMA World Cup Grand Prix? If so, which 8 countries would you like to see represented? Yeah, sure, let it happen. Which 8 countries? Let me think now. Okay, 8 countries. You'd obviously have to have America. You'd obviously have to have Brazil, Canada. Which other countries? England. Let's throw in Ireland there. Give me 3 more. Sweden have lots of good fighters. There's probably some really obvious one now that I'm missing. Mexico doesn't have that many, I suppose. Where else? France has some good fighters. If you Ngannou and a few more. Is this all different weight classes? I have one more. Who's one more? Australia have some good fighters. So there you go. Let's do that. Right, next question here. Christopher, is this all Christopher Graham? And it is. Do you have any thoughts on the PFL format? During the quarterfinals, the judges theoretically judge the entire fight rather than round by round. There are so many draws, it doesn't make sense to have the first round winner go through. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that, wasn't there recently? I'm I'm not as well up on that. It's on the Thursday night, and I have so much stuff to cover. I can't be staying up to watch that every week. I watch, when Kayla Harrison fights, when there's some big fights there, but yeah, maybe I'm not the best person to ask about that. But there can definitely be changes made to it, make it a little bit better. I'm not a big fan of, we talked about tournaments earlier on, when you don't have the high quality in the tournaments. I'm not the biggest fan of the tournaments, and they don't have that, but they're improving quality slowly by surely, and I'll give them a chance, definitely. But yeah. Right, should The Rock do a promo live at UFC MSG? Finally, Riz over. Yeah, it's going to be good. I don't understand why The Rock isn't putting on the belt on both of them, but yeah, whoever wins it. If UFC 243, is UFC 243 being overshadowed by Habib Poirier and Nate versus Masvidal? It's funny you should say that, actually, because I kind of thought that as well. To be honest, I thought, I was like, this is a great fight. This might be fight of the year, but other than that on the card, it's not a great card, to be honest. I think if Volkanovski versus Max Holloway is on this, and that's been made for UFC 245, I believe. If that was on this, I think people would be calling a lot better of a card. But yeah, I tend to agree with you there on that one. Right, next question here. What fights/fighters will headline the first 3 pay-per-views of 2020? Jeez. What 3 fights or fighters? Okay. John Jones versus the winner of the Johnny Walker Beeston 25-8 fight. So that's one. Conor McGregor versus Frankie Edgar. 2. And third one, Manny Nunes fighting. Who just fought? What title just fought? Triple C, maybe. Henry Cejudo versus Joseph Benavidez. There you go. Right, next one here is from that Ian O'Neill. That Masvidal versus Diaz presser was a bit of a disaster and a missed opportunity. Would you agree? Yeah, 100%. Definitely agree on that. The press conference was just like, okay, a lot of people, I tweeted out, said it was a bad press conference, and a lot of people were saying like, oh, what do you want them to just talk trash all the time? I'm like, no, how about ask him about the tactics of the fight? How about ask him, why do you like each other? Ask intelligent questions. If I had 5 minutes to think, I guarantee I could come up with 3 intelligent questions to ask him. And I know, they had a few intelligent questions. Ariel asked them, and there was another couple of journalists as well there who asked them the questions. But it was just a disappointing press conference. Nothing really happened. The 2 guys didn't really seem that up for it. And it wasn't really good. So yeah, that was unfortunate, really. All right, next question here, last one from Patreon. We'll head over to Twitter then. What can MMA promotions do to further limit eye pokes? Maybe think about changing the gloves. Would that work though? Would the change of gloves actually do anything, to solve the problem? Probably not. What else can they do? I went on a whole rant about the referee and stuff on on the podcast this week, so I won't do that again. But I feel like the rules have been changed over the last year or so, or maybe a little bit longer now, where you can't put the finger straight out, where that's a foul. So that's a good change, I think. Now that's not the promotion, that's the commission and stuff. And I suppose it's more of a commission thing than a promotions thing. But look, I think they're doing what they can do, and I've no problem with it right at the moment. But look, there's been a spate of them over the last 3 weeks, all right. But it's a problem that I don't know is there a solution for it, to be honest. So let's let's see how it goes anyway. Right, over to Twitter here for some questions. Kroll says, I have absolutely no evidence to back this up, but it feels like there are fewer eye pokes in women's MMA. Does this ring true to you? And if so, why do you think it is? I don't know. Are there fewer eye pokes in women's MMA? Maybe. Why would it be? Maybe because I think a lot of time eye pokes happen when you're keeping your distance. Maybe it happens in bigger fighters as well. Like the 2 eye pokes that happened last week, I suppose one of them was on the ground, but the other one was a heavyweight fight. This one, okay, 145, but maybe it's because of the lower weight classes, because they're smaller and they can't use their reach as much. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know if that's even a thing. But yeah, look, there you go. That's a terrible answer, but it's my answer anyway. Next question here from Fighting Irish MMA. What do you think of Brian Moore, versus Ricky Bandejas? Yeah, I like that fight. I think both of them kind of are up for it. Over on Twitter, they were talking about it. Obviously, Ricky Bandejas is a bit of heat, I suppose you'd call it, with SPG having knocked out James Gallagher. Brian Moore needs a big fight. We talked about in the podcast this week how he was injured and forced out of this card. So he needs a big fight, and I think this big fight, like Brian Moore's ready for that step up. I really think it. He's one of those guys. He's been around for a long time. He took a little bit of time out of MMA, and he's back and he's looking good. So, like, I'd like to see Brian Moore in a big fight, and I think that Ricky Bandejas fight is a big fight and a good fight for him. How deep was that armbar that Grassa threw on Caroline? What the fuck? With them Goombi arms, it was insane, wasn't it? You know, things like that you see it in MMA, and you're like, Jesus, how did she get out of that? It was just absolutely insane. But yeah, it's the only thing you can kind of imagine. It's like, how the fuck jiu-jitsu doesn't work as well. Like I said it all along. It doesn't work. I'm only joking, but yeah, that was an insane armbar altogether. Next question here from Richard _Waters. You can see the names. No point me calling them out. What was worse, the main event or the gender reveal segment on Raw? Oh, I didn't actually see that, so I don't know. But the main event, nothing happened. Mr. Podge, friend of the podcast, legend. Is there anything that can be done about eye pokes? Can the gloves be modified? Yeah, look, can the gloves be modified? We talk about the old Pride gloves an awful lot, and you know, obviously the gloves that like cover. The gloves now like go over the fingers like a small bit up, but then you want the gloves that cover like the hand like that, so like it arches your hand down a bit. But is that going to hurt your grappling then and stuff like that? Would that be worth it? You know, and it's weird, maybe I'm saying this now, but you know, grappling isn't as prevalent in MMA as it used to be in terms of, you know, fight ending scenarios. So maybe it's better off that we look for eye pokes instead. But then it's an attacking sport as well, and you want people to attack with submissions and stuff like that. So it's a tough one, and I don't think there's really anything you can do, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe it's down for someone smarter than me to know. Should the eye poke have been ruled intentional? No, I think it was accidental. Rolly Frogmore, does effective striking score more than lane prayer grappling? If so, can it be explained how the co-main reached its official decision? All right, there's two questions there. Let me go back to the question so we can look again. Does effective striking score more than lay and prayer grappling? Right, so that's the first part of the question. Yes, obviously it does. Lay and prayer doesn't score that much. If someone's laying on you for 3 minutes, you stand up and you hit him with 2 shots, you're winning that round. It's effective grappling, effective striking. And I was talking to a judge about it during the week, about effective grappling as well. And I talked about it in this Q&A last week for Patreon subscribers. And, you know, you score you score for a takedown, you score for a pass guard to get into a better position to hit someone. If you pass into mount, you're in a better position to hit someone again. That's a score. But you don't score that much for just those moves or just that, you know, effective grappling. You have to, it's really, what effective grappling is a lot of the time is moving into a better position where you can attack with submissions or where you can attack with strikes. It's really, you know, and effective grappling, you know, Carla Esparza almost getting her arm broken. That's effective grappling. You know, someone in on the guillotine almost choking them and they have to, you know, defend really hard to get out. That's effective grappling. I was talking to the judge during the week and he told me a very kind of smart thing to looking at effective grappling. If you're making someone defend, that's effective grappling because it's an attacking sport. Sometimes we forget that it's an attacking sport. If you're laying on someone, you're not attacking. You're just sitting there and you're not doing anything. But if you're going forward, you're passing guard, you're attacking. If you're landing strikes, you're attacking. If you're, you know, trying to break someone's arm, you're attacking. If you're trying to choke someone, you're attacking. If you're forcing someone to defend, you're attacking. And that scores. That all scores. All those attacks score. So, you know, that's it. Effective laying on someone is not going to score as much as striking. Then we'll go back to the second part of the question. If so, can it be explained how the co-main event reached official decision? It can be explained. I explained it maybe at the start of this. I have bad memory, but I explained it in the podcast. Esparza landed the harder shots in the first 2 rounds. Go back and watch it. She landed the harder shots and it was good judging those first 2 rounds. Very, very good judging because Esparza won those 2 rounds. The third one I thought was a 10-8. You know, borderline enough. I thought it should have been a draw, but I wouldn't complain too much about it. Who's the mystical being called the Podcod? Me right here, the podcast right here. Right, next one here is from Andy. Do you think eye pokes should get 5 minutes recovery time? Grind strikes hurt, but you don't need your grind as much as you need your eyes to fight. I don't know how to answer that. Really. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because yeah, look, I suppose the grind, and it's from kick to any man listen to this who gets kicked in the ball. You know what? Oh fuck! And then like 3 or 4 minutes later, all right, I'm not too bad. I can keep going. Whereas an eye poke is not that sort of thing, it's different. If you get poked in the eye and you're badly hurt, you can get poked and you're hitting you, oh fucking, you're okay after a second. But if you get a bad poke, it's going to take a while. You're going to need, to get your eye washed out or something. I'm no expert now. I've never really been eye poked. I'm sure I've got something in my eye and stuff at the time. But eyes, just from watching fights and from seeing them in fights, it's a different thing. And I think the rule is an okay one. I think the way Herb officiated badly. I think he did it right, but it was wrong. But right for the fight, right for the fighters, right for the fans, but wrong in the rule book. But I think the rule book is there for a reason, to be honest. All right, next question here. We've a couple more. Zabit versus Yair, our rematch versus Stevens. Who was next for Esparza and Grasso? I actually wouldn't mind running back the Esparza versus Grasso match. It was close. Could have been a draw, so I'll run that back. And what was the other one? Zabit versus Yair, Stevens rematch. Yeah, give me the Stevens rematch. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Zabit is fighting in Russia coming up soon, isn't he? So let him have that. And give me the rematch in the other one. All right. Next question here. How did Herb do tonight, Sean? I've talked about that. Yeah, not that great. MMA talk. How much do eye patches cost? Asking for a friend. I don't know. I'm not sure. And last one here now. Does anyone on TV know? Does anyone on TV and MMA know the rules? It seems not. Like Bisping last night, Daniel Cormier the week before, got the rules just badly wrong. They just and the rules of MMA, sometimes I forget them and I have to go and look at the rule book. There's someone like the eye poke rule where you don't get 5 minutes and Herb doing it wrong. People need to complain about that. That happens every week. It happened twice in the last three times now in the last 3 weeks. So people should know the rule. Or, getting kicked in the balls, you get 5 minutes, or whatever the different rules are. You should know a lot of these rules, or the hand down rule, especially if you're a fighter. Because it's their it's their job to explain it to the fans as well. So when they're not doing that, they really should be doing that. But what can you do? I suppose. What can you do? But yeah. Look, that's it. That's the Q&A for me. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to have videos more regularly now over on Patreon. I have this new setup. Hopefully it was good. You like my lower third and stuff like that. So yeah, sign up, patreon.com/SevereMMA podcast. If you're already signed up, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If for anyone is at the Bellator card this weekend, you see me around, give me a shout. We'll have a bit of a chat and maybe a pint afterwards or whatever. Not beforehand because I'll be working there, you know what I mean? But yeah, looking forward to that card. It should be fun. Actually, before we go here, let's have one more quick look at the card. But before we go and take a look at the whole thing up and down through it, if I can ever pull it up. Okay, here we go. Right, James Gallagher versus at the very top, James Gallagher versus Roman Salazar. I think people are maybe overlooking Roman Salazar a little bit. A good fighter, good defensive fighter, tough matchup for James Gallagher. Michael Page, Richard Kiley, we talked about that a lot before. Richard Kiley's going to go in there and he's going to try to throw everything on Michael Vin Page, and we know the quality of Michael Vin Page. Ryan Scope versus Peter Queally. Ryan Scope, obviously a very, very good fighter. He proved a lot against Pitbull there recently. Peter Queally is coming back off that loss to Miles Price, and so he'll have, if he's head down, I'm sure he had in camp, and he'll be trying to win this and going hard at it. If he does win, it'll be a big win for him. Liam McCourt, 2-1 now, but she's a decorated amateur around Ireland and very good on the ground, good takedowns. Kerry Hughes, a tough fighter, but I don't think she's the most skilled in the world, and I think if Liam McCourt can get near her and take her down, she'll win that fight in the ground. It could be a violent one. Vincent Anderson, Miles Jury, a fight we've been mad for in Irish MMA over the last while. We'd love to see a fight like this in Ireland, and I'm really looking forward to it. Kiefer Crosby, he's not fighting Lawrence Fitzpatrick, he's fighting someone else, but Kiefer Crosby, looking forward to seeing him on it. Brandon Gertz and John Tuck, that fight is off the injury. Dominic Wooding and Franz Lambo, Graham called that his sleeper fight. Could be a really, really good fight. Constantine versus Ian Coughlin, SBG versus Team Rhino, should be a good fight as well. Looking forward to seeing that. Philip Mulpeter against Keith McCabe, another one that could be two kind of old school guys there who'll go out and throw it all on the line. Should be really fun. Richie Smullen versus Sean Tobin, another fight that Sean Tobin, very good wrestling. Richie Smullen, we've seen him on The Ultimate Fighter. We saw his ground game and stuff like that, so you could see a submission on that. Or Sean Tobin, Limerick zone, he'll be coming out. Dylan Logan fought very well the last time. Adam Gustab as well, we've seen him around a lot. Carl Moore could have been a 2-8 cage warriors champion fighting Lee Chadwick, one of the most experienced guys around the scene. So that'll be a hard-hitting fight as well. I wouldn't be surprised if someone got knocked out in that to me, I really like Camila Rivarola. I think she's a really, really good fighter. I know she's 2-1-1, but I don't think it reflects it. Danny Nyland for her MMA debut, or professional MMA debut. I think that's a relatively tough fight for her, so that one should be fun. Will Fleury versus Norbert Novinyi. Norbert Novinyi, the karate wrestler, which is a really weird style. Will Fleury, a very tough wrestler, pushes you against the cage. If he wins that fight, Norbert Novinyi's only 3-0. But I think he's a really, 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 really good fighter. And if Will Fleury can beat that, I think, it'll raise Will. See, Will's ranked number 4 in South Africa. Maybe it's because he's on that thing. I was even in South Africa. He's from Tipperary. What's he talking about? Blaine O'Driscoll, Jake Headley. Jake is 4-0 there. So that's a big fight for Blaine. George Courtney had a good win the last time at Bama, or at Bellator, sorry. He's fighting Kieran Clark. Ilias Bulia, the guy we've known for a long time, or the kickboxing fans have known for a long time. I haven't known him for that long. And then you've Ryan Roddy against Patrick Pitial. So yeah, look, up and down. To me, very, very good card. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Looking forward to going up there. And it should be fun. Hope you all enjoyed this. Let me know if you did. Sign up patreon.com/SevereMMA podcast. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like on YouTube if you got all the way through it. Hopefully you did. And I'll see you all next time. Good luck.